taking his coat and hat, and kindly displayed no surprise that he didn't have gloves to give her. She showed him up to the third floor, where he found Charles in the séance room, hunched over a camera affixed to a tripod. Charles looked up when Gabrielle walked in. "You're here, thank God. So you got my bleu." Gabrielle didn't even have to open it to know it was from Charles. No one in Gabrielle's set ever spent money on a message sent by pneumatic tube. In Gabrielle's world, if you wanted to summon a friend, you just stood under his window and shouted up. When Charles hugged Gabrielle, he could smell the familiar scent of his brother, of good living, of cigars, and fresh laundry. "It's cold. Are you cold?" his brother asked. To the girl, he said, "Get him something hot, some tea or coffee." Then back to Gabrielle. "Would you like a whiskey?" "No, I'm fine." "Get him a whiskey, Inez. That's a good girl." She curtsied and hurried out. "I'm not taking you away from anything, am I? I didn't mean to make it sound like an emergency. Nobody is dying or anything. Although, I suppose it's a bit of an emergency to me." He seemed on edge, not able to sit still. This wasn't like Charles. He was usually calm and filled with confidence. Some thought him arrogant, but Gabrielle always admired his equanimity. It was the kind of self-assurance that came with success. His brother was a well-respected physiologist, the editor of Revue Scientifique, and co-editor of the Journal de Physiologie et de Pathologie Générale. He had published papers on physiology, physiological chemistry, experimental pathology, and normal and pathological psychology. His recent work on the mechanism of regulating body heat in animals had garnered him praise, and there was even talk of a Nobel Prize. Gabrielle, on the other hand, had dropped out of medical school to become a writer. He was 15 years his brother's junior, and a catastrophic disappointment to their father. "What is it, Charles? What's wrong?" Gabrielle didn't like to think it was Amélie or the boys. "You know how to work these cameras?" Gabrielle looked around at the 5 cameras situated around the room. He went over to examine the closest one. "This one looks simple enough. Why?" His brother sank down in one of the chairs that surrounded a large round table that stood in the center of the room. It was a simply furnished room, probably because Amélie had not been allowed to decorate it. It didn't have the fussiness of the rest of the house. No cloche jars protecting miniature tropical glades. No soothing watercolors of Dinard or Saint-Tropez on the overmantel. Nothing to suggest the determined will of a woman with a generous allowance and too much time on her hands. "The photographer came down with a fever and there's no one to man the cameras. You know how to work a 12-shot facile?" He looked hopeful, but it was a fragile hope. Gabrielle thought that his brother was preparing himself for disappointment. Charles was an older version of Gabrielle, the same blonde hair closely cropped, only his was nearly gray. They had similar mustaches, like twin sheaves of wheat over their upper lip. Gabrielle was thinner than Charles, yet more solid, with strong arms and legs from his recent passion for cycling. They both had their father's long, horsey face, Charles becoming more equine with worry. Clearly he was worried now, and he had a right to be. The facile was a complicated camera that took 12 dry plates at once, and so could capture 12 shots without reloading. Nevertheless, it was tricky to reload if more shots were needed. Gabrielle wasn't a photographer, only a Sunday enthusiast, but as a journalist for Le Matin, he had access to exotic equipment, and had even used the camera once. "It shouldn't be a problem," he said, moving to the back of the room, where the facile sat perched on its tripod.